This is the Quizizz 8th grade math SBAC review, part 4. In number 1, we need to find the angle relationship that's shown here. So we have an angle of 60 and an angle of 30. So first I want to talk about complementary angles. Complementary angles are angles that have the sum of 90 degrees. And the way I remember complementary is I turn the C into a 9, and that makes it 90. So 90 degrees. Next are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles have a sum of 180 degrees. And I remember that S kind of looks like an 8, so I turn it to an 8, the U to a 0, and add a 1. Really, the way I remember those, that S looks like an 8 for 180 degrees. And then the third are vertical angles. And vertical angles are when you have two intersecting lines. The opposite angles are congruent. They have the same measure. So these two red are vertical angles, and the two blue are vertical angles. So here, we have two angles that have a sum of 90 degrees. So these are complementary angles. This line right here is called the angle bisector. It bisects this 90-degree angle. For number 2, angle 1 and angle 3 can best be described as, so when I have two intersecting angles, what I do is I call it the beach ball, and I draw a circle, and then I'll choose a color. So I have red, then blue, red, then blue. And you can see that these two, the same color, have the same measure. And 1 and 3 have the same measure. And these are called vertical angles. So vertical angles have the same measure. For number 3, the angle relationship shown is, so I have an angle that has a measure of 110 degrees and an angle that has a measure of 70 degrees. And as I talked about earlier, if you have the two angles that have a sum of 180 degrees, then those two are supplementary angles. They add up to 180 degrees. For number 4, if the measure of angle 1 is 30 degrees, then the measure of angle 3 is also 30 degrees because these are vertical angles. Angles 2 and 3 are supplementary angles. These would add up to 180 degrees. For number 5, we need to find the value of x. Line CA is a straight angle, and it has a measure of 180 degrees. So we know that x plus 38 is going to equal 180 degrees. So if we have 180 degrees and we subtract this angle, which is 38, we have 142. So x equals 142. And make sure that 142 plus 38 does equal 180 degrees. For number 6, if the measure of XOZ equals 74 degrees, so this has a measure of 74 degrees, find the measure of XOY. Well, if this is 74 degrees, we know that the measure of this angle, XOY, has to be less than 74. And the only option that is given that's less than 74 is 37. For number 7, we need to find the measure of BCD. So I put an X there. We need to find the measure of this angle. Well, the remote interior angle theorem states that the sum of the two remote interior angles, the ones that are not next to the exterior angle, will equal the exterior angle. So we have 67 plus 35 will equal the exterior angle, which is 102 degrees. For number 8, find the value of x by using the exterior angle theorem. Well, from the previous problem, we know that the two remote interior angles, the sum of these two angles, will equal the exterior angle. So we have 12x plus 9x equals 105. Now we combine like terms. 12x plus 9x is 21x. Inverse property of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide both sides by 21. This creates the big 1. 1 multiplied by x is x. 105 divided by 21 is 5. So x equals 5. For number 9, we need to find the measure of angle A. Well, the sum of the interior angles of a triangle equal 180 degrees. So we know that if we add these three angles together, we will get it'll equal 180 degrees. So we have x plus 59 plus x plus 51 plus 84 equals 180 degrees. Now we're going to combine like terms. X plus x equals 2x. 59 plus 51 plus 84 equals 194. Inverse property of addition is subtraction. Created a zero pair. 180 minus 194. Now when you look at this, you can see that you have more negatives than you do positives. So, and if the signs are opposite, you're going to subtract them. So keep the sign that you have more of, more negatives. So 194 minus 180 is 14. We have more negatives, so it's negative 14. Divide both sides by 2. Created the big 1. Negative 14 divided by 2. So negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. So x equals negative 7. So now that we know what x equals, we're going to plug that back in to this, the measure of this angle. So we have this expression, x plus 51. So measure of angle A is going to equal x plus 51. We substitute x with negative 7. Negative 7 plus 51, we have more positives than negatives, so we know it's going to be a positive number. 51 minus 7, the measure of angle A equals 44 degrees. For number 10, what is the measure of angle A in the triangle? So here's angle A, and we need to find the measure of this. So we're going to use the exterior angle theorem. Remember, that's the sum of the two remote interior, inside angles, remote meaning away from the exterior angle. So the sum of these two is going to equal the exterior angle. So I have the measure of angle B, 2x plus 4, plus the measure of angle A, 3x minus 13, will equal the exterior angle of 116. Now I'm going to combine like terms. 2x plus 3x is 5x. 4 minus 13 is negative 9. I have more negatives than positives. Now I'm going to add 9 to both sides. Inverse property of subtraction is addition. Created a zero pair. 116 plus 9 equals 125. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Created the big 1. And 125 divided by 5 is going to equal 25. So x equals 25. Now that I know the value of x, I'm going to plug it back into the expression that was for the measure of angle A. So measure of angle A equals 3x minus 13. So I'm going to substitute x with the value of 25. So now I have 3 multiplied by 25, which is 75. 75 minus 13 is 62. So the measure of angle A equals 62 degrees.